go big, little legs. Skinny kid with plenty.
Yo, what's up, YouTube? It's ZTAY, aka Lil Red. We are gonna be starting a podcast on here, at least I am. I don't really have any guests. I don't even know if I want guests, to be honest. But right now, I'm just gonna sit back and watch this damn Warriors game. I know I'm watching it, not reacting to it. I'm just gonna watch basketball and talk about basketball. There's a couple things I want to talk about. First off, on this podcast, I want it to be non-negative talk, because a lot of the time nowadays, whenever I go on Twitter, people are just bashing another player. I tweeted it recently. By the way, if you guys want to follow my Twitter, I'll put it in the description in the comment section. But every single time I go on Twitter, a player will have a good game. And it's like people, I don't know if it's the younger generation, and they just love memes and that's their way of, comedy or something. But there will be a younger player. I mean, not a younger player, a younger person. I'm guessing maybe it's a grown ass man doing this, but a player will have a good game, and it's like they will just bash another player. Like, wow, I don't know, Zion Williamson had a very good game. Oh man, LaMelo Ball's trash. Nowhere near Zion. It's like, why? Why are we doing this? I understand. Maybe it's like a rivalry between fan bases, I guess, which is another topic I could talk about, is fan bases. I feel like most of the time people are just fans of players nowadays. There's nothing wrong with that. I can't get mad because I can't get mad at anybody that loves the game of basketball, because it's the greatest sport. It's the greatest thing on earth, in my opinion. That's the only reason I'm here, and that's the reason I'm making this podcast. That's another thing I want to talk about. Oh damn, Draymond and Brandon Ingram getting into it. Oh, a T? I don't know what's going on. But anyways, I just like to talk about basketball. I don't really got a lot of friends no more. I feel like I used to have a lot of friends. I'm 25 years old in a couple days or a week. So I just realized that you guys are my friends, to be honest, because I just only like to talk about basketball. That's why I don't have a lot of friends. That's all I do, is talk about basketball, watch basketball, play 2K, think about basketball, or work, which I don't want to be doing, because while I'm at work, I'm listening to a podcast of basketball. Shout out to Through the Wire. I've been listening to Paul George's podcast recently. That's kind of cool. Let's talk about the Clippers, bro. Paul George gets hurt, the knee sprain. Honestly, when I first seen it, I thought it was going to be much worse, but I heard Paul George talking about it. He said it's not that serious. So the Clippers, you think they'd be fine, right? But they are kind of at the bottom of the West right now, although they had a really good win against the Bulls, which my Lakers just didn't have a good game against the Bulls. Do I think the Clippers are contenders this year? That's a good topic we could get into, because they got Russell Westbrook now. Kawhi Leonard's playing like the MVP version of Kawhi Leonard. And it's crazy because I heard something. You guys know that Kawhi Leonard has played more games this season than Stephen Curry. Let that sink in. I think Kawhi Leonard has played 52 games this season, and Stephen Curry has only played 48. Now you can look at the minutes. Maybe Steph Curry's played more minutes because Kawhi had, it seemed like the first half of the season, why it doesn't seem like he played so much was because he probably wasn't playing a lot of minutes. So I really don't know. You never know about the Clippers. I feel like they're the meme team, not the dream team, the meme team. And you can say that for the Lakers too. It's just LA, bro, to be honest. But I just don't see the Clippers winning. And I don't want to hate on a player, but I just don't think Russell Westbrook is ever going to win a championship. And maybe that's hating. I just don't see it. I don't see it in Russell Westbrook. He is a extremely talented basketball player. He's better than me, obviously. So, let's just get that out the way. I'm not saying he's a bad basketball player. He's a future Hall of Famer, most triple doubles in NBA history. Nobody could do what he does at the point guard position. And that's another thing. I feel like if we have conversations, opinion based, and you say something that comes off maybe negative about a player, people get so offended because that's their favorite player, and then they attack your favorite player back. And this is where that's where all that negativity comes from on social media. Also, negativity sells. I was just scrolling through Twitter last night before I went to sleep, and it's just like, all you see is something negative, even if it doesn't have anything to do with basketball. It just goes to show that today, in today's society, everybody wants to be famous or have clout so they can feel like they're worthy of something. Like, you know, you don't have to have all that stuff to feel like you're worthy, first off. But people just go do the craziest stuff to try to get approval from other people. And yeah, that's off topic. Get back to basketball. Let's talk about the Pelicans. Oh, by the way, going back to the Clippers, I just don't think they're gonna win the championship because of Russell Westbrook. That's where I was getting with this whole point. Damn, this game is getting crazy. Draymond Green just fighting with everybody. But anyways, I don't see them. Russell Westbrook, he's a good fit for the Clippers. He's a better fit for the Clippers than the Lakers, in my opinion. He's finally found his role where he doesn't have to shoot threes, and I think part of that is because he doesn't play for the Lakers no more. You guys seen, I don't know if you've seen Malik Beasley posted on Instagram after the game versus the Bulls, and the first half he wasn't shooting the ball that good. And there were people, obviously Lakers fans, under the comments, Lakers fans, the casual Lakers fans, under the comments, I don't know what they were saying, talking about his family, all this stuff, talking trash. And Beasley's just like, Laker Nation, you know, pinned his tweet on that. Laker Nation, you know, I'm working on my jump shot in the playoff. I promise it's going to fall. And it's crazy because there is this thing in the air of when you play for the Lakers, and even Lakers fans make the joke, if you're a good shooter and you come to the Lakers, you're not going to keep those shooting skills because of the crowd, to be honest. And I was talking about earlier in the season, I wasn't mad at Russell Westbrook. I think Russell Westbrook is a very good player, but he needs something. He needs, going back to the thing about, and this is crazy, maybe controversial, but he might need the approval from other people to feel like he could just be himself. And that's nothing bad, because it's hard to just be yourself in the NBA. It's hard to not need the approval of other people when you're playing in the NBA. That's just what it seems like, in my opinion, because you think about it. Kyrie Irving, he does not care how people view him, and look how he's viewed. The fans, the media of the NBA want the players to care about how people view about them for some reason. And maybe it's because of the greats, you know, Kobe Bryant. I feel like everybody wants players to have that same mindset that Kobe Bryant had. And I think that just tells us that we need to just be more grateful for Kobe Bryant, because we're never going to see a player like that ever again, that puts his body on the line and doesn't care about anything else besides winning. Obviously, he cared about other things. He wanted to be the greatest player of all time, you know, when he was younger, and all that drama with his teammates, the whole Shaq thing. But no player is gonna, you know, sacrifice that type of stuff that Kobe did in today's NBA, because today's NBA, they're realizing, they're being smart. It's not stupid that I am here making money doing the thing I love. Now I'm going to prioritize my happiness and you know, peace in life. And that's what Kyrie Irving does, and look what happens to him. Russell Westbrook feels like, this is my opinion, obviously I'm not Russell Westbrook, I don't know, this is from the outside looking in as a Lakers fan. I feel like, damn, Draymond kicked that man in the head. I feel like Westbrook, when he gets the approval from the fans, he can be himself. And I think he has a lot of trouble being himself, even though he should be himself all the time, because the crowd will start booing if he misses a couple shots, if he's not playing good, and then it gets in his head. And I think the Clippers are a perfect team to play for if you have that problem, because if you ever been to a Clippers game, I don't know if you guys live in LA or even a Clippers fan. If you've never been to a game, you need to go to a Clippers game. By the way, you could afford it. It's probably like $20 for good seats. I'm telling you. And it's a reason. There are no such thing as Clippers fans when they're going to the games. They're just there to just be there, to do something, because the tickets are so cheap, because they share the same stadium as the Lakers. All right. So there's no pressure for the Clippers. I heard Stephen A. Smith saying Kawhi Leonard has the top 5 most pressure player or most pressured player in the NBA today. He has the most pressure on him. He's the top 5 most pressured player. I'm like, no, he plays for the Clippers. Maybe for the mainstream media and ESPN, it's like, yeah, that is a lot of pressure. You know, he won a championship in Toronto and he goes to the Clippers. He's got his whole team. He's got Paul George alongside of him. They should be winning, right? They're always the favorite in the West. And then they don't live up to the expectations. But guess what? You don't hear about it. It's like the Clippers. Nobody talks about them until they make it a priority to talk about them. If that makes sense. The Lakers, if they have a bad game, you can't turn on the TV and not see it. It's a difference. There's levels to this. There's levels to it. And I really think Kawhi Leonard does not have any. Did Draymond just get to, he's yelling at Steve Kerr now? What is going on? Oh, okay. Yeah, but I just think there's no pressure playing for the Clippers at all, in my opinion. I don't care if you guys agree or disagree. And I actually encourage you guys to disagree. That's another thing about this podcast, that I want you guys to be in the comment section talking with me. I don't want it just to be me talking to a camera because I don't have any guests. I don't even know if I want guests. Maybe we could do some Discord stuff in the future. I was thinking about, maybe live streaming. I don't really want to live stream on YouTube. I would rather it be posted in a video form. I'm thinking every Wednesday do an upload. So far, that's the date I'm kind of trying to aim for because, seems easy. That's what came to my head, middle of the week. So I don't want to live stream on YouTube, but I would think about live streaming these podcasts and, reading the chat live and talking to you guys. And on Twitch, I have about like 20 followers on Twitch, maybe, I don't even know, 11. If we could get my Twitch to 50 followers, I will do a live podcast on Twitch on stream. So I could be talking to you guys about basketball, because I've come on YouTube a couple times live streaming, just playing like 2K or something and talking to you guys about basketball. But I think if I really made it a priority, and especially if I'm making videos on it every week, I want you guys to be involved in this. And even this episode, I want you guys to still be involved. I want you guys to comment down below. Let me know everything that you guys just have on your mind, because we are basketball fans. If you're watching this, especially at this point in the video, you are a basketball fan. And I don't know who I'm talking to, but I know there's someone that feels the same way as me. We love to talk about basketball. We love to listen to it. And we feel like nobody around us in our life really is the same way as us. And sometimes it feels like we're talking to a wall. And that's why I want you guys to comment on here. It doesn't even have to be related to the Clippers or anything I just talked about. Anything you guys are thinking of, just talk down below in the comments. I will be in the comments replying to most of the comments on these podcasts, unless it's something super negative and hateful, because I know sometimes people, that's another thing, the whole hate, they're just trying to get a reaction out of you. So if anybody's ever trying to hate on you or say something crazy like about your favorite player, most of the time they're trying to get a reaction out of you because it's fun. I mean, sometimes I think I used to do it when I was young. But anyways, getting back to the West, let's talk about the West. Some of my favorites in the West, I want to talk about the Sacramento Kings for a little bit, because for a while I was like, you know what? The Kings might be onto something. Like, they might have a chance to win. And I know that's crazy. Like, they could make the conference finals. And I was actually starting to genuinely believe that when I was watching them play against the Bucks and all these other contending teams. They looked really, really good. They beat the Knicks, they beat all these tough teams in the East, and then they came out in the West and they're doing the same thing. But as of recently, they have not been playing good. And I was looking at stats a couple days ago, and I noticed after I was watching one of the Kings games, because I was like, bro, the Kings, I don't know what is up with them, but they just let the Utah Jazz just score all over them. And I realized the Sacramento Kings are 25th. They might be even worse now. 25th in defense out of 30 teams. I think they average Their opponent averages the 20 or the 5th most points against them compared to any other team in the league. That man Draymond is just whew. This game is crazy. It's the Pelicans versus the Warriors. Warriors at home and they're losing by 17 in a must-win game. Hey, the Pelicans, they've been looking like something. You know, they looked like they had a cold streak for a little bit, but all of a sudden they just heated back up. Who was I just talking about? Oh, the Kings. So yeah, 25th in defense, and they were first in offense. Is that going to be successful in the playoffs? If you look back at the playoffs, or if you guys know about the NBA playoffs, the game slows down and it's more defensive. The Kings have the 25th defense in the NBA. Is that going to work in the playoffs? And if you look at paper, I think the Kings are the 3rd seed right now. They had a chance to clinch their playoff spot yesterday, but they lost to the Timberwolves, who've been real hot. Cat came back. He didn't even play in that game, but Cat came back. Anthony Edwards. Mike Conley's been a pretty good fit for them. What's his name? Oh my God. I can't even think right now. It'll come to me. But anyways, the Kings, you're like, they're 3rd in the West. Who are they going to have to play? You know, the Grizzlies are number 2, the Nuggets number 1. But are the Kings even going to get past the first round? I'm going to look at the standings right now. Are the Kings really going to even get past the first round? You know, just 2 weeks ago, I was thinking, you know what? If I had to just go based off feeling on what I've seen this season, I think the Bucks definitely could be a contender, the 76ers, the Celtics, and then I was like, maybe the Kings or the Nuggets, obviously, because they're the number 1 seed. But those are all the teams that are popping into my mind. But as of recently, I don't know about the Kings, bro. They don't play defense. And it's not even just, you know, sometimes you could look at stats and the eye test doesn't match up. But no, it matches up. You could see it. They don't play defense. They let teams score. They let teams shoot threes. They have Sabonis in the paint. You would think he'd be a good defender, but they let players drive right by them and they rely on their scoring. And I don't know if that's going to work. They're the 3rd seed right now. They're pretty much going to finish with the 3rd seed. They're not going to drop out unless they play horrible the next couple weeks. They're probably 7 games left. The Suns are in 4th place with 5 less games. So the Suns are 5 games back from 3rd place. The Kings, as of right now, would play the Clippers in the first round. I really don't think, no way the Hornets beat the Thunder. Oh my God, the Hornets 137. Oh, that's good. Okay. I was going to say, hey, we're going to talk about the Thunder too. But anyways, I don't think the Kings are going to beat the Clippers. PG should be back. They said 3 weeks for that injury. It's been like a week already. I don't think it's that serious. They already beat the Clippers in that crazy game this season, that double overtime game, the 170 point each game from each team, that crazy scoring game. But now that I'm seeing the Kings play, I don't think they're going to compete with the Clippers. I think the Clippers will have trouble stopping them, but I think the Clippers have a better defense. Paul George, Kawhi Leonard. They got some defenders out there. The Kings don't have any defenders. You got Sabonis who might eat up on Zubats, but Zubats is a good defender. So, are the Kings even going to make it past the first round? And it's kind of sad because I thought they could be contenders, but as of recently, I'm counting the Kings out. I do not predict the Kings will even make the second round. I think the Kings are going to get bounced in the first round. I think they'll win 2 or 3 games and they're going to lose. Depending on who they play, I still don't think they're going to beat anybody. How they're playing right now, even if they have home court advantage, maybe it's going to be a different atmosphere. Maybe that's why they're not playing good right now, because it's winding down to the end of the season. But I don't think the Kings are going to make it past the second round. We'll talk about the Pelicans right now, since I'm watching them and it's halftime versus the Warriors. The Pelicans are on a streak. The Pelicans are on a 5-game winning streak, and it's looking like it might be 6 games versus the Warriors right now. They are an 8 seed And if they win this game, they pass the Warriors up. The Warriors move to 8th place. The Warriors are slowly falling out of the standings. And the thing about the Warriors, I don't think they own the tiebreaker with anybody in the West. So the Warriors can't afford to be losing games right now, and they're at home. There's no excuses. I heard Wiggins has been practicing, so maybe he's going to come back soon. I think Gary Payton's already dealing with another injury. So Warriors slipping down, Pelicans moving up. Now the question is, will Zion come back? Because you think back to the beginning of the season, the Pelicans were the number 1 seed for like a week or two. They looked like the best team in the West. They were hot. Zion Williamson was playing very, very good. And he could be an MVP in this league if he could actually stay healthy and play more than 50 games in a season. If Zion is able to come back with Brandon Ingram, who's been hot, and CJ McCollum playing in the playoffs, and they make that play in, which is looking like they're going to right now, they can make some noise just like they did last year, but even more. They weren't supposed to do anything last year in the playoffs. They surprised everybody. They almost took the Suns and beat them. Now this year, I think if they have Zion back, they could beat anybody in the West. If they played the Nuggets first round, I think they could beat the Nuggets if they have Zion back. And maybe that's crazy. I don't think realistically Zion will come back. I don't even think his injury is that bad, but I just don't see him coming back the rest of the season unless they're really competing for a championship. But theoretically, if he did come back, hypothetically, if he did come back, I think that the Pelicans might be an issue. Let's talk about the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves been hot recently. They just got their best player come back, Karl Anthony Towns. With Rudy Gobert, Anthony Edwards, they finally got all those players playing together for the first time since the beginning of the season, which they didn't really look good, but they had to get some chemistry, I guess, and now they're building that chemistry. And on top of that, they got Jaden McDaniels. That's who I was trying to think of earlier, who's a very, very underrated player who's been balling. They got Mike Conley in that trade from the Jazz and the whole D'Angelo Russell thing. He has been a perfect fit for them. And then you got Anthony Edwards, Karl Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert. They got Slow-Mo. Naz Reid coming off the bench. I think the last 4 games he's been averaging 21 points a game. Watch out for the Timberwolves. These play-in teams for the West could be a high seed if they had everything going right for them at the beginning of the season. And I think that's scary. Because the Kings might be the 3rd seed. But I don't think they would be the 3rd seed if the Timberwolves had this team the whole year. I don't think they would be the 3rd seed if the Pelicans were healthy this whole year. I don't think they would be the 3rd seed. Well, the Lakers wouldn't have our roster that we do now, so maybe they would have it over us. I'm just saying, the play-in tournament is looking spicy in the West right now. You got the Pelicans, the Warriors, the Timberwolves, the Lakers, the Thunder, and not to mention the Mavericks all fighting for those play-in spots, and they are all teams that could be at the top of the standings in the West. Let's talk about the Mavericks. What is wrong with them? Right now, they are tied for 10th seed because the Thunder just lost somehow to the Hornets, who are just beating everybody, including the Dallas Mavericks. They lose to the Mavericks, or the Mavericks lose to the Hornets 2 games back-to-back in a row. Dennis Smith Jr. is going to hit a 3 against them. I think he only has 22 threes on the entire year against his former team in Dallas. Kyrie Irving didn't really play good those last 2 games. And then they play the Pacers, which they're showing me the highlights right now. And Kyrie Irving plays good. I love Kyrie Irving. And I'm not going to sit here and just bash him like everybody else, how he just kills every team he goes to. Because I don't think he is to blame for the Mavericks team right now. Because every fan wants somebody to blame when their team doesn't go good. And sometimes it's something other than what you think it would be. And in this case, like I said earlier when the trade first went down, I think they got a little bit desperate. They heard a little bit of the noise from the fans. In the case, what I was just talking about, how fans, they always want to find somebody to blame When the Mavericks were 500 with Luka Doncic, Dinwiddie, Tim Hardaway, Dorian Finney-Smith, that team, they were not doing as good as they were the season before. The fans were starting to talk a little bit, and Mark Cuban, he's a fan at heart too. And he decided, I don't know if it was him or the GM or the coach, the Mavericks organization decided they need help because that's all they were hearing. Give Luka some help. Man, JaVale McGee went off this game. And that's another thing. JaVale McGee should be starting for the Dallas Mavericks over Dwight Powell, in my opinion. They don't use him properly. And I'm very passionate about this. They don't use JaVale McGee properly. JaVale McGee looked real good, at times better than DeAndre Ayton last year playing for the Suns. He comes to the Mavericks. I'm like, this might be a very, very good fit for the Mavericks. And they don't use him at all. And like I was going to say right now, that Kyrie Irving trade was forced from the fans and all the pressure from losing, and Luka needs more, and they got the wrong deal. Kyrie Irving is obviously, you go after him if you could get him. I'm not mad they got him over for Dinwiddie and Dorian Finney-Smith. That's a steal. But Dallas needs a big man. Luka Doncic, I don't care how mad people get, in my opinion, is James Harden 2.0. He's not LeBron James. I'm sorry. I don't know where people even get that from. Maybe because he could play make, but James Harden could play make better than LeBron James statistically. If you look at the stats, he averages the most assists in the NBA. He plays in the pick and roll just like Luka. He plays at a slower pace, at his own pace, just like James Harden and Luka. He's not athletic like LeBron James. So I don't know where you guys get this, and they're like, Kyrie will be a good fit because he's just like LeBron. In my opinion, maybe your guys different. Luka Doncic is James Harden 2.0. Okay? You think back to the Rockets days, James Harden made Clint Capella look like an all-star center in the pick and roll. Without James Harden, I don't think Clint Capella would have the same role he does in the NBA as he does now. And maybe that's a stretch. Maybe that's me discrediting Clint Capella. But James Harden is one of the best pick and roll players of all time. Luka Doncic is going to end up exactly the same. And you know who his partner is? And this is not a bash on him, but it's Dwight Powell. An undersized, in my opinion, power forward playing as center. I don't get it. Christian Wood, he's an offensive scorer, but guess what? He's not the best pick and roll player. He's also not the best defender. He comes off the bench. Why don't they start JaVale McGee, who is a good roll man, a good defender, a good rim protector, and a good rebounder? It just doesn't make sense to me, in all honesty. So I don't know. I think the Dallas Mavericks are going in the wrong direction. I actually saw this little vote, and they were saying between a couple teams, which team are you worried for the most? And some of the other teams were like the Trailblazers with Damian Lillard, future in question. I forget the other two teams, and then the Mavericks. And the Mavericks had the most votes. People are worried about the Mavericks, and maybe it's recent bias. Because they've been losing a couple bad games. They're not in the play-in. Since the Kyrie Irving trade, they have a losing record. But I think it's not that hard to fix the situation that the Mavericks are in right now. Luka Doncic said he's dealing with some, mental issues. It's not as fun for him as it once was. It's because you have Dwight Powell as his pick and roll man. It just doesn't make sense to me. So that's all I got to say about Dallas. They need to just start JaVale McGee right now. I still don't think they're going to win with JaVale McGee, but that's going to give them the best chance to even make the playoffs. And then when this offseason is done, I don't see Kyrie Irving coming back. I don't know where Kyrie's going to go. Maybe he will go back because now the Lakers are saying they don't want him. But they need to get a big man. And Christian Wood is a good big man, but he's not the big man that Luka needs. So, yeah. We'll talk about the Thunder. They just lost to the Hornets somehow. I don't know if SGA even played in that game. I guess I'll check right now. But they've been surprising everybody. the youngest team in the NBA, I think, and they are in the play-in in the West over the Dallas Mavericks right now. So Thunder got SGA, an all-star, super young, 24 years old. Their future's looking good. And on top of that, I think Holmgren, Chet is now questionable in the starting lineup. So now they might have some hope for the future. So I think when they get Chet back, they got Jalen Williams, both the Jalen Williams. A lot of people were saying if the redraft was today, Jalen Williams would go number 2 over Jabari. So I don't know. I think the Thunder have a really good future, but today they let PJ Washington score 43 points. That is insane. They let Svi Mikhailuk score 18 points. I don't even know who the other guy is. I don't even know who the other 2 are. And the Thunder, guess what? Okay, they did not have SGA playing. That's exactly why. But that man, Josh Giddey, 31, 10, and 9. Josh Giddey's a really good player. And like I was saying, Jalen Williams, 31 points. That's the future for them. Isaiah Joe had 33. This is a high-scoring game, but they ended up losing. I'm just happy. I'm not happy, but hey, man, it's good for the Lakers that SGA is sitting out games. I don't think the Thunder are trying to compete right now for the play-in spot. Obviously, the players are, but I think the coaching staff is just like, hey, don't see us contending this year. It'd be fun to get in the playoffs, but they're not going nowhere this year, unfortunately. Look for a second that they were really good and they could make some noise. I just don't see it. Because SGA is just in and out of the lineup constantly. So to me, that just like, they're not taking it serious. Those are some of the West teams. We could talk about the East, but any other teams I want to talk about in the West, the Suns getting Durant back tomorrow. You never know. Suns might be the favorite in the West. In my opinion, they might be the favorite with Durant, Devin Booker, Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton, Josh Okogie. They're looking really solid. They got TJ Warren off the bench, who hasn't really been that good. They got Terrence Ross off the bench. All right. Cameron Payne off the bench. They look pretty good. If they could stay healthy, Kevin Durant and Chris Paul and Devin Booker could stay healthy. They're looking good to me. I think right now they would play either the Timberwolves, the Warriors, or the Pelicans, and maybe even the Lakers in the first round. And to me, they beat any of those teams unless the Lakers are completely healthy, and maybe the Warriors can give them a run. I don't think the Timberwolves could beat the Suns, so I think the Suns will get out into the second round. So second round, my predictions for everybody that's going to move on to the second round. The Nuggets, it's tough. I think they will move on to the second round unless they play the Lakers, and yes, I'm a Lakers fan, but I think that the Lakers, if they're healthy, can beat any team. And as a Lakers fan talking, I think the Lakers will get to the second round if we make the playoffs. So if they don't play the Lakers, the Nuggets will move to the second round. If they do play the Lakers, I don't think they're moving to the second round. Grizzlies, I think they're going to the second round. Grizzlies look real good this year, I'm not going to lie. They got Ja back. They look good without him, just like that year before. They got motivation now. They clinched the playoffs. They clinched the number 2 seed. I think the Grizzlies, they might go far this year. They might go to the Western Conference Finals to play the Suns or something like that. The Kings, I think, like I said, getting bounced in the first round, maybe by the Clippers. Warriors, you never know. I don't think they're going to do anything this year because of their struggles on the road. As of recently, they played a little better, but now they're struggling at home. They don't have Wiggins. It might be too late for them. Lakers, if we could get our chemistry together, you know, when LeBron's back, because LeBron back and just threw everything off. That was kind of my worry. D'Angelo Russell just doesn't play through minor injuries, which I can't be mad at because it's an injury technically, but I don't know. I don't know if the Lakers really want it. I think we might even be thinking about next year, to be honest, but obviously I want them to do good. And we'll go out east. Couple things to talk about. Jalen Brown, number 1. Jalen Brown is not coming back ever in a Celtics uniform again as soon as he gets the chance. Will he even is he going to get traded? Because next year is his last year on contract. He's been talking about how some of that crowd might be racist. I'm not going to lie. He's probably right. It's Boston, you know? He said, obviously, it's not every single fan. He didn't completely say it, but he pretty much doesn't feel, oh my God, even Chenzo with a poster put back. He doesn't completely feel like he's wanted there, probably because of the Kevin Durant trades. Rumors. He's been in a whole bunch of trade rumors. He doesn't feel valued there. Obviously, Jason Tatum is there. Jalen Brown could be a number one option for any team. I always thought that way for Klay Thompson when he was in his prime. I think I always wanted to see Klay Thompson have his own team. And I think current day, I think a good example of that is Jalen Brown. I think I would want to see Jalen Brown on his own team. Where that be? Who knows? I heard somebody say the Rockets, James Harden, Jalen Brown, they get Wemby, and they got Jalen Green and everybody still. That's just crazy. I think that would be cool, but that is crazy. It's not going to happen. Jalen Brown, I think he's done in Boston. I think yesterday he said, or somebody asked him, how did it feel that the Celtics gave you a huge ovation in the fourth quarter when he checked in? And he just said, I'm just here to do my job. That's not a good sign. Obviously, Celtics fans are doing that because they feel like they're going to lose him. I think the damage has been done with Jalen Brown. Imagine him on the 76ers. I think if James Harden leaves and goes back to Houston, Jalen Brown could go play with Embiid. Or Damian Lillard could play with Embiid. I don't think Damian Lillard's ever going to be done with the Trailblazers. He says he doesn't want a rebuild, but I don't know. We talk about the Celtics. Are they contenders? I don't know. Jason Tatum looks real good. Jalen Brown looks real good. But now all this drama is starting to happen towards the end of the season. That's the last thing you want going into the playoffs. You want some good momentum going into the playoffs. I'm not saying they're losing games or playing bad, but now this drama is coming up. Your second best player, maybe some people think that he's your best player, is not happy. So now, is that going to be a problem? Another thing about the Celtics, the way they play. They're one of the best three-point shooting teams in the league. I think they might have one of the best offenses in the league because they score a lot of points, because they shoot a lot of threes. They kind of use a 5-out offense. They use their center Al Horford and put him in the corner. And then they just tell Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown, cook. Let Marcus Smart shoot some threes. They got Grant Williams who stands in the corner. They got a whole bunch of spot-up shooters. Is this going to work in the playoffs? Because the playoffs, like I was saying earlier, it's more defensive. The game slows down. You can't be just shooting up threes. That's what you think, right? But anything could happen. It's today's NBA. They just went to the finals last year. Jason Tatum is probably more hungry this year. Again, like I was saying, the most pressured Stephen A's list. Jason Tatum, I think he said was number one. He has the most maybe not number one. He has the most pressure, one of the most pressured players in the league today because of last year's finals performance by Jason Tatum. I don't think the Celtics are going to go far. I think they'll win in the first round, obviously. But I think even if they make the Eastern Conference Finals, that's the farthest they're going to go. I don't see them going all the way. The Bucks, I can see them going all the way. Like a lot of people. It's not a surprise. I think the Bucks are a lot of people's favorite. I think, are the Bucks the number one seed? The Bucks are the number one seed. 54-21. They are winning games without Giannis Antetokounmpo, without Jrue Holiday. They got Chris Middleton back, who wasn't even there half the season. They're looking dangerous. They got one of the defensive players of the year, Brook Lopez. Bobby Portis off the bench, 6th man of the year candidates. I'm not saying they are. We'll get about that. We'll talk about that in a second. I think the Bucks are going to be very, very tough to beat unless an injury happens. And even so, as long as it's not Giannis, I don't know. Bucks might go to the finals. Now, my favorite in the East is the 76ers. But as of recently, I don't know. I'm starting to feel a little bit worried. You asked me 2 weeks ago. I'm saying 76ers winning the finals. They're going to the finals. Maybe not winning, going to the finals. As of recently, injuries happening again for the 76ers. Specifically, James Harden, my favorite player in the league. And Joel Embiid sat out of the game versus Jokic last night, or today, actually. Oh, no, it was yesterday. So that's crazy. Everybody's saying he's ducking Jokic, but we'll get into that in a second. James Harden, it's Achilles injury or something, calf injury. That's not good. James Harden hasn't been healthy in the playoffs the last couple years. Last year, I think they should have gone to the Western Conference Finals, but Embiid was not playing because of injury. Broken nose or something. It's like the 76ers have a curse on them. Not even the 76ers. Joel Embiid and James Harden have a curse on them. Same with Chris Paul. To just never win. There's something. And I want James Harden to win, but if they could stay healthy and James Harden's injury is nothing, I honestly think they're the favorite to win the East over the Bucks. They are so good. James Harden can manipulate the game for Embiid, who, in my opinion, is the MVP. I don't see anybody beating them when they're healthy, but I don't think they're going to be healthy. Sadly. Talk about another team in the East. We got the Cleveland Cavaliers, who look like they're going to play the New York Knicks first round. And that might be the best series out of every single series in the playoffs. And I know a lot of people are like, bro, there's some good games in the playoffs. Good matchups. But those two teams can play basketball. The Knicks are really fun to watch. But the Cavs, bro, with those two big men, Mobley and Jared Allen, then they got Donovan Mitchell, who's having a very good year, and then Garland, who's having a very quiet good year. Even Okoro stepped up big in that 3 spot. It's going to be tough. They got Ricky Rubio off the bench now, who's healthy, playing against a Knicks team where Brunson just came back. Randall's having one of his best years again. RJ Barrett, you never know what you're going to get from him, but if you get a good game, you might win. They got Grimes. That series is going to be good. I can't even say who's going to win that one. Cavs are a very young team, and that's what everybody's using against them in the playoffs, but I think they could beat a couple teams, just like the Heat. The Cavs and the Heat are teams you don't want to play in the playoffs. You know, you might be the favorite in those series, but you don't want to play them because you could lose. So, I don't think the Cavs can be contenders, but you never know with Donovan Mitchell. You look back at Utah Jazz days. We'll talk about Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. They can never get there. Even if they were the number 1 seed, the best team in the NBA, they can never get there. Now we're truly going to see who was the issue. Now this is the issue that I have. Why does it have to be that? Who was the issue? Why can't it just be the Jazz were the issue? Why has it got to be one of them? They both play good in the playoffs. Why has it got to be one of them? It's a fun conversation. I get it. It's going to be interesting. Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, who's going to go farther in the playoffs? I mean, obviously, you should say the Cavs because they got a higher seed. Timberwolves been good recently, though, and I don't know. They might have to play the Grizzlies, so maybe that's not going to happen. The Knicks, they have a good team. I just don't think they have all the pieces yet. Mitchell Robinson, he's a pretty good center. Hartenstein off the bench, pretty good center too. Are they contenders? With Julius Randle, I just don't know. And that's sad to say. Then we got the Nets. I don't think they're going to do anything in the playoffs. They might win a game or two. They have a pretty solid team. They have a really good future. I just don't see it. Mikal Bridges turning into a really good, solid player. Kind of a steal. But yeah, don't see them doing nothing. The Heat, like I said, 7th seed right now. They could definitely move up, although they have some really bad losses. They could do something in the playoffs. They might be an underdog. A team that I would not want to face if I was one of the higher seeds. The Raptors not going to do a damn thing. Sorry, Raptors fans. I just don't see it. I don't know why the Raptors just don't rebuild and throw in the towel. I'm not going to spend too much time on them. The Hawks, you never know with them. They got Trae Young. They DeJounte Murray. Just don't see them doing anything. Maybe winning a game. Wizards probably not going to make it. The Bulls, the Patrick Beverley effect, they ain't going to do nothing. They might get in the play-in. Maybe get in the play-in, but they're not going to do nothing. So let's talk about end of the season awards. MVP. Who do I got for MVP? First off, Who do you guys have for MVP? Jokic or Embiid? They are now tied for, according to, I don't know where they get this information from, which kind of makes me question a lot of things, but they're saying they're tied right now for the favorites. And it comes right after a game where Embiid did not play against Jokic. And it's crazy because these games actually determine something. Actually. You know, most of the time it's fans just talking. Oh, he's ducking smoke. He don't want to play him. He's scared. And then it's nothing. But it's crazy because that's actually impacting votes. There are some people with votes like Kendrick Perkins, I think Charles Barkley, people like that, the media that have votes for MVP. And you know this means something to them. You know this means something to them. The fact that Joel Embiid did not play, and then all of a sudden, some people were saying Jokic is the favorite just because he didn't play a game. He could have been hurt. Shows that there are going to be some biases in the voting. Now it's going to be the narratives. And maybe people are right. The MVP, honestly, I don't really like it. It's fun, I guess. But I don't really like how it is. It's not really what they say it is. It's not really the most valuable player. It's the best storyline. That's all it is. What's the best storyline? You guys got to remember the NBA is an entertainment business. It's the best storyline. Who's going to have the best storyline? I think Embiid has the best chance, but he also has the route where he could destroy himself. Jokic is going to win depending on what Embiid does. If Jokic is going to win, it's going to be because of Embiid's last 7 games, how he finishes out the season. Because there was a note today that there's only been one player in NBA history to miss 14 or more games and win MVP. And that was Bill Walton in like 1972. I could be wrong on the year. Probably wrong on the year. Embiid has missed 14 games. He's missed the most games for a MVP. Damn, CJ running over DiVincenzo. Pretty much they're saying that Embiid has missed a lot of games and he might not get MVP because of it. Jokic has been playing a lot of games. And then I just look at, is that fair? Can missing games actually help your case for MVP? That's something you could think about. If you miss a game and your team loses, doesn't that prove that you are the most valuable player on your team? And I hate this. I hate what I'm about to say. I hate how people say Jokic should win MVP because the rest of his team isn't as good. Or Embiid should win MVP because the rest of his team isn't good. That's really where we're getting at when we talk about MVP. Jokic won MVP last year as a 6th seed. They said because he didn't have Jamal Murray. He didn't have Michael Porter Jr. And they made the playoffs because Jokic took him there. And I'm not mad at that he won MVP last year. I agree he should have won MVP last year and the year before. This year, he gets Jamal Murray back. He gets Michael Porter Jr. back. And they are now the number 1 seed. So it shows that people were right from last year that they're a much worse team when those people are not playing, and Jokic still carried them. Now, the 76ers didn't have the highest seed last year. I don't think it was because of injuries or anything like that. This year they have a higher seed. And people want to bring up, I think Jokic deserves MVP because they don't have as good of a team as Embiid has. Embiid has James Harden. Jokic only has Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. But this is what I don't like about the conversation. That has nothing to do with Jokic, the player himself, or Embiid, the player himself. I understand team success, but what are we doing here? If we're talking about this, then we should keep that same energy when we're talking about Joel Embiid has missed 14 games. And in those 14 games, I don't know how many they lost. They lost 8 games. Doesn't that prove that if we're going by the same logic, that Embiid is valuable to his team? He's the most valuable player. So I don't think we should judge it off that. You know, when I say judge it off that, Embiid's missed 14 games, I think he's definitely, I don't think that should matter. Another reason why it shouldn't matter is because that's just his play style. He's going to get hurt. You look at that Warriors game. He tired himself out dropping 44 just to lose in the fourth quarter. He's gassed because he has no James Harden to, help him out with some of the help. Now, Jokic, even when he doesn't have help, he don't got Jamal Murray playing or anything like that. His play style isn't as aggressive as Embiid. His play style doesn't use as much energy as Embiid's. Therefore, he's not going to miss as much games. Now, does that mean that that's saying something and that makes him a better player because he doesn't miss as much games? I don't know. All I'm saying is I don't think that should be a reason why Embiid shouldn't win MVP because he's missed 14 games. And I think that's where some people are trying to get to because he missed that Jokic game. And I don't think you can judge the entire season based off one game, although that was a bad look for Joel Embiid. I think it's obvious what he was doing. And he's ducking Jokic because it can make his case look bad. He's the one that wants it more. He's the one that's openly going after it. Literally saying, after the Warriors game, I had to show him what I could do. They lost. He don't even care about winning right now. He cares about the MVP. All right? I don't think I've ever seen a player be this open about winning an MVP as Embiid. But I don't think that should matter. Exactly. I don't think that should matter. None of those narratives should matter, but they do. And that's the problem with the MVP award. I think it should matter who deserves MVP this season. Based on their play. Nothing outside of that. Who deserves MVP this season based on their play? Jokic is averaging 25 points a game, 9.9 rebounds, 9.9 assists, 10 rebounds, almost a triple-double. Embiid's leading the league in points, 33 points a game. I think 10 rebounds a game, 4 assists, a block or 2 blocks a game. Jokic averaging 0.9 blocks a game. So then we go off stats and we're like, which one looks better? How do you judge MVP? I'm happy I don't vote for this. I'm really happy I don't have to vote for this because there's so many decisions that go into it. It's not consistent every single year. And I think I heard recently that a player in the NBA was saying that's why he doesn't understand it or like the award in general is because there's no consistency to it. One year they won because of this. And then the next year, Clay just got his ankles broken. The next year, they don't use that same criteria. They switch it up based on who they want to win, and it's just biasy. And it's definitely, listen, who's going to win the MVP award is based on Twitter. That's all it is. That's all it is. Who's going to win the MVP award is based on social media. And right now, Embiid was the favorite just a couple days ago. Then he missed that game due to injury or load management. Now Jokic is the favorite. So I can't even predict what's going to happen in the last 7 games. I think Embiid is going to win it because he wants it more, and he's going to be doing something stupid or crazy out these last 7 games. He's going to get it. So, yeah, that's what I have to say about that. Defense Player of the Year, I got Brook Lopez. 6th Man of the Year, I was going to say Russ, but he's not on our team no more, and he definitely fell off. You could say Norman Powell. He's been hurt a little bit. Bobby Portis going to win it, in my opinion. Should he win it? I think he started a couple games or more than a couple games, but Bobby Portis is going to win it. Rookie of the Year. Come on now. We all know who's going to win Rookie of the Year. Paulo's going to win Rookie of the Year. What other awards are there? Yeah, I think that's it. Who's going to win the NBA Finals? These are my predictions. My final predictions, I think, is going to be... It's easy to say the Suns, but I think something's going to go wrong for the Suns, to be honest. I don't know why I'm thinking that. I kind of want to say the Grizzlies going to make the NBA Finals. Is that weird? I don't know why that name came to my head. Grizzlies versus the Bucks. I don't know. Just throwing that out there. Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I want the Lakers to make the finals, but yeah, I think the Grizzlies and Bucks. There it is. And you guys heard all my MVPs. Curious what you guys got to say below. I guess we could talk about the podcast a little bit, or this game that I'm watching right here. One thing I want to talk about is I heard a lot of people saying, you know, they're watching March Madness. And to me, I never really got into college basketball like that. Like, I try to watch it and it's cool and all, but I think me not knowing any of the names, it's hard for me to get into it. And I feel like everybody's like, that's not what college basketball is about. But when I watch college basketball, I'm watching it to see who is going to be in the draft, who's going to be good in the NBA. For me, college basketball is just a farming system for the NBA. And I know that's not how college basketball fans see it. They see it as the purest form of the game. And I think they see that because it's very extremely disciplined and coached. And maybe that's why they say that. But in my opinion, yes, that basketball, you know, is very consistent, reliable. You know exactly what it's going to look like. And then it's going to be like, who's going to run the system better? But sometimes it's like, I don't like the shot selection I see. I don't like the shot making ability I see. I just think the NBA is so much better. The spacing is so much better in the NBA. That's the one reason I don't like college basketball. I think the spacing is horrible. They don't space the floor properly in college, and I think maybe it's because the three-point line is shorter. I don't know what it is. They just do not space the floor good. The pace is crazy in college. They say the NBA is faster, and I think the NBA, you have to make reads way faster because the players just like, hey, one read and go. College is like, I'm going to spend a little bit of time going through these reads, and then I'm going to go. But I think in college, the pace is really fast and chaotic for me. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's too much passing and not doing anything with the passing. It's just coach versus coach, in my opinion. I just like the NBA better. When I watch college basketball, obviously I love a good upset. I love a good game. I'll watch the national championship every year. Or, you know, it's hard for me to just watch March Madness. And I told myself I want to watch it this year. But I like going back. I like going back and watching like last year's college March Madness or 2 years ago because I want to see the NBA players. Maybe I'm just an NBA fan. I love basketball. I saw a tweet. Somebody was saying that if you don't like March Madness, you don't like basketball. You know, if you like, it was because De'Aaron Fox was saying that I can't really watch it. The shot making ability, just like I agreed to everything he said. I'm like, that's exactly how I feel. And somebody was saying, if you think like this, you're not really a basketball fan. You're just an NBA fan. And I'm like, how does that make sense? NBA is literally the National Basketball Association. It's the best players in the world. To me, it's just hard for me to watch college basketball. I know the only reason I watch is all the prospects. I honestly don't even know where I was going with that. To be honest, I really don't even know where I was going with all that. Do you guys watch college basketball? I don't know. It's just hard for me to get into it. I like the upsets. I think my favorite year was when it was the Villanova versus Gonzaga, maybe. Maybe I'm tripping. They might be in the same. This is what I mean. I shouldn't even be speaking on it. I'm going to sound like a casual, because I am. I'm a casual college fan. I'm not even a casual college fan. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where Embiid goes. I don't even know if he's going to be good in the NBA. And I know this might be an unpopular opinion. I don't think Vic is going to be as good as people think he is. Maybe I'm just a hater. He's 7'4", freakishly, like nobody's seen anything like him before. But then I think about players. Obviously, what we do now as a fan is compare them to people that we see now. I see Bol, Thon Maker. I know that's very disrespectful that I saw Thon Maker. Bol, Thon Maker. Just tall, tall, skinny players like that. And it's like, is that going to work in the NBA? You know, maybe it is, because the way the game is played today, there's not really that much big man. You can't really be physical no more. Injuries is going to be a big thing. I hope he don't get hurt, but it's just like whenever I watch somebody like that, I'm just fearing they're going to get hurt. It just looks unnatural. Scoot Henderson, he's going to be good. I mean, I think like this most similar thing I could say or see, like kind of story wise, is like I'm thinking about Zion Williamson, how everybody was the favorite, and then John Morant was just kind of behind him, and then John Morant just went crazy and low key outperformed Zion. So it's just like maybe Scoot could do the same thing, but I don't even really know that much about Scoot. I've seen him play a couple times. Is he gonna be that good? I don't know. Then we got Brandon Miller, that whole controversy thing that went on with him. And then in the March Madness, he didn't play good. You know, he didn't shoot good. And that's another thing about March Madness. Do coaches and scouts look at how they play in moments like that and judge their entire season based on those moments? Or do they judge it based on the entire season? Because you think about it, those are the most pressured moments. That's where you want to see if they're going to crack. So it's interesting. At the same time, you got to realize they're young. Maybe when they get older, they're going to be fine. So I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Like I said, this podcast thing, I'm hoping I'm going to be posting every single Wednesday, hopefully staying consistent. I honestly don't even know how long I'm going to be making the episodes. I'll see how long this one was. I don't even know how long I've been talking. But I think that's everything that I really wanted to talk about. You know, end of the season predictions. Let me see if I had anything else in my notes. I just want to sit down and talk about anything that was on my mind, to be honest. End of the season predictions. Kings or Contenders, and MVP playoff predictions. I pretty much did everything that I said I was going to do. Let me know how you guys feel. Also, just remember what I said at the beginning. If we could get 50 followers on my Twitch, which I will put it in the comment section, in the description. If we could get 50 followers, I will go live on this podcast and I will include you guys in this, and I will see the chat live and we will be able to talk amongst each other, because that's really why I'm making this podcast. It's for us to talk about basketball, because I know there's got to be somebody that relates, and it's just like, I notice when I'm out, you know, hooping, I'm at 24 Hour Fitness with my friend, and I just realized we just got done. We're sitting down, and, you know, we start talking about basketball a little bit, and my ass just gets carried away, because once you get me going talking about basketball, I don't stop. I could just keep going, and I could just see his ass on his phone just like, all right, bro, chill. Like, not saying nothing, but then I'm like, damn, maybe it's just in my head, but I'm just like, I am talking too much about this. Or my girlfriend, bro, I literally just talk so much about basketball, and I know her ass, she's, you know, she tries to be supportive and just, you know, she'll listen as best she can, but her ass don't even know what I'm saying half the time. So, I don't know, I just like to talk about basketball. I literally just sat here with barely any pauses in between, by myself, with nobody around me. There's no sound in this damn room, and I talked about basketball for an hour plus. That's crazy. Do I have an issue? That's all I want to know. Yeah, leave your comments down below. Like I said, be sure to like this too. I don't even know how these videos are gonna do, but hey, man, hopefully there's at least one or two of you guys that enjoy these. Let me know how everything that you guys are feeling and thinking while watching this video. Comment down below. It don't even have to be related to what I'm saying. Anything that you've been thinking, let your voice be heard. Just let it out in the comments. Let your inner thoughts be free. Drain yourself of all this basketball conversation. Otherwise, you just gonna talk about it all the time to people who don't want to hear you. And everybody in the comment section that is commenting, everybody that's watching this video, especially if you're watching it now, loves basketball as much as you do. Whoever I'm talking to, they love basketball as much as you do, and they will talk about it with you for hours. So yeah, I'm probably gonna finish up. I'm probably not gonna finish this Warriors game because I want to do the reaction. I don't want to spoil it. about third quarter with 2 minutes left. You'll probably see this video the day after. It's 82-74, 84-74 right now. Pelicans got a lead, and man, it's tough. Pelicans looking real good. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, and you guys are new, hey man, hit the subscribe button. Every single Wednesday I'm gonna be posting this podcast. I don't even know what it's gonna be called yet. This is the first one. This might go down in history. This is ZTAY.